Zadande Any, Electro Ninja here, and welcome back to Electro Ninja's Lab. Oh boy, I've been meaning to talk about this scene for a while, um, but the problem is that I also know that this is going to get me a lot of hate. Um, so let me be clear on something, because what I'm about to say may sound a little bit homophobic. Um, I do not hate people who are homosexuals. I do have friends who are homosexuals, but I do not like actually seeing these relationships in shows due to the fact that they are often done very badly, and I will be explaining how it's going to be going badly in this video. So hopefully that's clear. Um, I'm going to be talking about all of these relationships and how they're bad, except for the two that are actually fine, or the three that are fine. Um, so yeah, let's talk about it. So we're going to start on the outside with Marinette. Well, starting with Marinette and Luca, as well as Adrian and Kagami. Now, both of these relationships are very similar with how they have issues. Both of these relationships are very iffy. The simple fact of the matter is that Luca is absolutely a great guy who eventually deserves to get a relationship of any kind. He is a good guy that I hope that he does eventually find the one true person that he's meant to be with. And Kagami is honestly just not ready for a relationship. I know that sounds bad, but she's young and she's been extremely hidden from life. It's the same issue with how Adrian. The thing is that Adrian and Kagami are both homeschooled people who, well, not necessarily homeschooled, but two people who have been kept away from the world for most of their lives and didn't really get to develop their feelings for many other people. Adrian has his feelings for Ladybug, and Kagami really hasn't gotten to know anyone but Adrian due to the fact that they are kind of important to each other's families. Luca has done some good things, and should he get with Marinette? Honestly, it could go either way, but honestly, he doesn't. Marinette doesn't really need to be with Luca, and that's just the simple fact of the matter for that. But the thing is that Adrian and Kagami are both not ready for relationships. They should take some time to develop their other relationships outside of a romantic one before they actually go to begin their relationship. And they should actually be looking at the people that they are friends with first and foremost as their eventual romantic partners, but they shouldn't be shooting for that right now. For Adrian, the three options that would work probably really well for him are Marinette, Chloe, and Kagami. Yes, absolutely, those three could definitely be a possibility. But the problem is with Chloe is that she's a female dog. Kagami is in the same boat as he is, and Marinette is kind of has a hard time telling him her feelings. And Kagami honestly could get into a relationship with a lot of different people, but she doesn't actually know anybody. The problem is that she thinks that because of the fact that she fell in love with Adrian, that that's the only one for her, and there's never going to be another guy that she will fall in love with. And that is a common issue with people who are sheltered for a large portion of their lives. And she needs to first meet a few other people before she's just going to assume that she and Adrian are meant for each other. So hopefully that explains that situation. Let's move on to the two canonical ones, Ivan and Milen, as well as Nino and Alya. These two relationships are great. They're the things that we want to see in all of our relationships. A close friendship that has grown closer and closer over time, but eventually something happens that really makes you realize that, yeah, this is the relationship I'm looking for. You're the person I want to be with. And honestly, I hope that I can get a good relationship like this at some point. To be friends with that one girl that just makes me smile, and then we get together. That would be amazing to have that relationship. And that is basically how it goes. I am hoping that they will eventually show the marriages for both of these couples. But it's still a long ways off. But we'll have to wait and see what exactly is going to happen. It's also kind of funny to see that Ivan will most likely be the bull for the. Will probably be getting the bull miraculous, and Milen will be getting the mouse miraculous. So that just makes my day. But unfortunately, we'll just have to wait and see what exactly they decide to do with that. The next two relationships are the gay ones, the ones that I was worried about. Like I've said before, I don't like homosexual relationships in media. Now, don't get me wrong, I do have friends who are homosexuals. But oftentimes in shows, they portray them really, really badly. A good example of when it was done right, was probably the situation with the new Beauty and the Beast. Really small, but it's there. You can see that they are going to eventually go into that relationship, and it's not necessarily forced or anything. It's just, oh, okay. They're realizing their feelings, and it's a future possibility. And unfortunately, it will probably never happen for them, even though it probably would be a sweet love story eventually. It's never going to happen because of the time period. Let's be honest, that time period was way less friendly with homosexuals than we are nowadays. So they'll probably both be burned at the stake. Moving on, back to this actual relationship and other relationships like them. A good example of what is happening here is the Alex situation in Supergirl, the CW show. Basically, someone who is actually gay comes up to someone who, at the time, isn't actually gay. They are kind of not certain of their feelings at all, and they are kind of open for any relationship, and they're not necessarily searching for. They're thinking, oh, I'm looking for a guy, or I'm looking for a girl, but it's the person of the opposite gender, and that is a completely reasonable thing to do. But then they decide they're going to go with this relationship because somebody who they are slightly attracted to is telling them, hey, maybe you're gay. And that's the problem with a lot of situations nowadays, is that people assume that because of the fact that this person is attractive and they can be friends with them, that they want to go into a relationship. And that's an issue that we get a lot of times, even in real life. Like, let's say, I don't know, let's say some guy says that he is attracted to some famous guy. Let's use Ryan Reynolds, who, let's be honest, Ryan Reynolds is an attractive man, who, honestly, a lot of people have crushes on. But the simple fact of the matter is that just because of the fact that you can see that the person is attractive doesn't necessarily mean that you are attracted to them. Maybe, I'll use an example from another YouTuber, Rendog, the Minecraft YouTuber. Now, obviously, he is an attractive male. Let's be honest, he makes a joke about it every single video, and in a normal situation, you'd think that that's a bad thing. But if you actually look at him, you might actually realize that he actually has some stuff going for him. So he could actually say that, and it's not at all as creepy as it would be if I was to say the same line that he says, which is, "Ladies, get in line." Let's be honest, I'm not the most attractive human being in the world. So the fact that he's saying that, it is a joke, don't get me wrong, but he is saying it because him saying it isn't as bad as it would be for, say, someone like me. And we can accept that as a joke. But for me, I would absolutely love to be friends with him as well as the other Hermitcraft players. Would I ever want to date them? Abso-frickin-lutely not. No, never. Like, even the females, who, let's be honest, some of them are attractive. Do not get me wrong. But I would never want to date them. Because they just, quite simply, are not my type. And that's the same situation with this. You can notice that somebody is attractive. You can notice that somebody is your friend. But you also have to understand that they aren't necessarily your type. And that's the same situation with every single situation, no matter what you're going for. Like, there are girls that I know that I find attractive. They are my friends. But I would never want to date them. Frank the Dopamine Dog, who is voiced by a good friend of mine, and that YouTube channel that person is a very good friend of mine, who I'm hoping that she'll get her video done. We did date, but at the same time, we now understand that the two of us just simply weren't right for each other, and that happens a lot of times. But the simple fact of the matter is that because of the fact that the one who's actually homosexual, in this case, Julika and Mark, are showing the fact that they are romantically interested in Rose and Nathaniel respectively, it's going to confuse the minds of Rose and Nathaniel, who at the time are currently looking for love. Rose, who is extremely friendly with everyone, has shown multiple times that she is in love with the Prince of Achu. And Nathaniel has shown that he is interested first in Marinette and then in Ladybug. And that's the thing. They've shown their interest in these other people. And the simple fact of the matter is that since they are still looking for love, if these two people say the wrong thing at the wrong time, it could cause them to get into that relationship. The simple fact of the matter is that if you are going to go into a relationship with someone who has previously said that they are straight and you are a homosexual, you have to first make sure that they understand what is going on. Yes, explain to them that you are interested in them, but don't necessarily say that we should get into a relationship, because then it will confuse them and it will kind of hurt their brains a bit. So let them actually get into that mindset on their own before you actually approach actually getting into a relationship and bringing forth that conversation. Because honestly, otherwise it's just going to be a whole mess, and I don't want to get into that conversation right now. And it's the same situation no matter what type of relationship you're looking for. Whether you are a straight person and you find somebody who is also straight and you want to get into a relationship with them, then you have to be aware that the two of you may not be the right fit. And honestly, I wish that they actually handled this better for homosexual relationships, but they don't in shows. I don't know why. So yeah, hopefully that fixes that. Hopefully it's not overly sounding homophobic. But then there's the weird relationship, the one that I do not want. Now, let me be clear. Max and Alex, I feel it. As somebody who is a nerd and often gets crushes on artists, you have to understand that this is the relationship that matches me the most. But I don't want them to get together. Mostly because of the fact that Max doesn't really seem like the right fit for Max and Alex don't really seem like the right fit. The two of them have hardly any chemistry together. They hardly talk to each other and hardly anything. If anything, Max is probably one of the least likely people that she would get into a relationship with, because of the fact that he is best friends with someone who isn't necessarily her of someone that she's a really big fan of, which of course is Kim. She's not a huge fan of Kim, and well, yes, a lot of people do ship Alex with Kim. Honestly, in my opinion, it doesn't quite work. Currently, the only person that she's actually shared a relatively good chemistry with is Nathaniel. But that's currently the only person I ship her with. Now, if they do decide to expand this story a little bit more with Max, then absolutely there could be some things that could work. I actually want to talk briefly about the comic, because in the comic there's actually a moment where several of the characters are hanging out together. And one such thing is obviously Alex hanging out with Kim and Max. Now, obviously, they could decide that they want to go into this relationship and set it up. But right now, I don't really see that would actually be the best option for now. So, we'll see what happens. But hopefully they'll actually tackle more chemistry with them, rather than just be like, yep, they're in a relationship now. Like, what the fuck? No, don't do that. Sorry. Like I said, relationships are challenging. No matter what relationship you're going for, be aware that your relationship is something that you have to decide on your own. And no matter what you're looking for in a relationship, it's not necessarily only romantic feelings. If anything should be obvious from this, is that attraction and romantic feelings are not the only things that affect your relationship. Your friendship that you have with your significant other is extremely important. And the fact, if you aren't willing to risk your life for that person, then what are you even doing? In multiple, the reason that I am really glad for Alya and Nino is because of the fact that no matter what situation they're in, they always worry about each other first and foremost. Nino and Alya, when in any trials, they always worry about each other first. Nino, his first action is always to protect Alya. In Anansi, as soon as she gets captured, he grabs Cat Noir's stick and fights. He doesn't care that he doesn't have powers. He's going to save the woman that he loves. And that is one of the most important things that you see. He holds Alya to make sure that she doesn't that she doesn't get akumatized, to protect her, no matter what is going on. And the same goes for Alya for Nino. And it happens so much, and it's so important, but for some reason they don't want to actually develop this with literally anyone but Ivan and Milan and Alya and Nino. Like, holy crap. That's another thing that's really frickin' important. If you guys watch very carefully, you'll notice that, yes, Adrien does worry about Kagami every now and again, but it's not to the same extent that he worries about Ladybug or even Marinette. Like, let's be honest. If Adrien had to choose between two people who to save, Marinette or Kagami, he would choose Marinette. That's just the simple facts, and he needs to understand that. And for some reason, he doesn't. And that is one of the most important things when dealing with a relationship. But they don't frickin' get it. Almost every single character in this doesn't seem to get it. Kagami, if Adrien is in trouble, what does she do? Nothing. Yes, she approaches him when he's upset, but that's because of the fact that she notices him. It's because they are friends, and she thinks that but in any situation where he's in trouble, it's like, nope. Like, dude, what the fudge? Like, when she realizes that the character that they're going after lovers, what should have been the first thing that she does? She should have been like, we have to make sure that Adrien is safe. That is one of the first things you do. And yes, she could have. Yes, Marinette kind of already fixed this, but it was still. She separated them because of the fact that she did know that they are in love with each other, and it fixed them. But the thing is, she's more, what's jealous than she is actually caring right now at that moment. So honestly, they need to fix this. No matter what they do, they need to fix what's going on. Hopefully that is clear. Hopefully that clears things up, and hopefully they'll actually develop these people's relationships before too long, because holy crap, this is getting annoying. So hopefully before long they will actually develop these other relationships, but honestly right now I have no idea what's going to happen. But I do want to say one last thing before I go, and that is that there's actually a reason for why they probably took these miraculous heroes and decided to choose them to be, or these characters to actually be at this specific event. Of the people that are actually at this event, and I will, like I'm saying, first of all, we already know that Marinette and Adrien do have their qualmies. They are miraculous heroes. Next, Alya and Nino. They have their relationship. They are perfectly fine. No big deal. They are heroes. The same goes for Kagami and Luca. and Max and Alex. Belen and Ivan have actually been pretty much hinted at that they will be getting Kwamis, and the same goes for Rose and Juleka. Mark and Nathaniel, well, that's an interesting situation, to say the least. Nathaniel most likely will be getting either the goat or the chicken is now some of the options. I'm still not certain what Kwami he's going to be getting. But Nathaniel will be getting a miraculous before long, and Mark will most likely be getting either whatever one he doesn't that Nathaniel doesn't get, which could be the goat or the chicken. Like I've actually gone over a theory about why he could get the chicken, but after that dream that I've actually talked about in another video, yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of thinking that he's more likely to get Aquarius. So we'll have to wait and see exactly what they decide to do with that. But literally everyone but those two is a couple that has a Kwami or a Miraculous is coming their way. So hopefully that will explain things. The reason I'm saying that as well is because of the fact that the people that should be here as well is Kim and Undine, because they are actually in a relationship. But they're not here. And that's because of the fact that Kim does have a Miraculous, but Undine currently does not have plans to actually get a Miraculous, which is kind of an interesting thing. I've talked before that most likely several people will be getting Miraculouses, but unfortunately this video is actually getting pretty long, so I'll actually have to cover that in a future video about who's getting what Miraculouses again, but hopefully that clears some things up. But anyways, guys, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. Hopefully this didn't sound too bad. If you guys have any theories about Miraculous, then definitely leave them down in the comments below, and make sure to use the special hashtag. And of course, if you guys are new, please subscribe and ring that notification bell. And if you want to support the channel even more, then definitely head down to the description and check out my merch store, which has the special Anti-Ninja shirt, which will be gone soon. So make sure you buy it before it goes away. Turkey Ninja will be back as soon as Anti-Ninja goes away. So be on the lookout for that. And of course, if you guys also want to check out my book, definitely do that as well. I've been plugging for long enough. I will see you guys in the next video. But on!